Hi, this is Nancy from Peace Coaching. Thanks for stopping by today. And I wanted to talk today a little bit about a pitfall that I see my couples falling into in the beginning of their journey pretty regularly. And so I'm going to tell a little story about it. It's a story that I got from, I believe, a book written by Gay Hendricks called The Big Leap, and I'm pretty sure that's where I read it. And so it talks a little bit about how he had been asked to mediate between a couple of countries that shared a lake in their border. And so the half of the lake was on one country's side of the border, and half of the lake was on the other country. And I found it interesting and applicable to couples counseling, and so I wanted to share a little bit about that. So say there's a lake that's on the border of two countries. We're going to say just call them A and B. And so the countries are stuck in a stalemate, an argument about who is going to do what in order to clean up the pollution in the lake. And so the United Nations gets involved, and they come in and they say, okay, we're going to mediate this dispute between country A and country B and figure out how we're going to get this lake ultimately cleaned up, because they're just stuck in a stalemate of bickering. So country A says, well, we can't clean up this kind of pollution and do our part because country B isn't doing this. And country B says, well, we can't do this until country A does this. And now we're stuck. And the lake is not getting cleaned up. The fish and the wildlife are suffering. The water quality is suffering. And we just can't come together on how we're going to get this lake cleaned up. And so he comes in and he starts the process of mediating this. And the approach that he takes, I think, is one that is very similar to what couples can consider when they're stuck in a stalemate of a disagreement about, actually, whose fault is it that our marriage is in shambles, or that we're having all of these problems. And a place that we get stuck in at the beginning of the relationship, when couples come in and sit on my couch and they say, our marriage would be so much better if my partner would just fill in the blank with whatever you got. It's as many different reasons as there are people in the world. All right. And then the other person in the couple says, no, our marriage would be so much better if my partner would just, and they have their own set of things that they think that their partner should change. It's very much like country A and country B saying, well, we can't do anything unless my partner or this other person does this. And then the lake never gets cleaned up and the marriage never heals. So what happens if the mediator comes in and says, okay, I'm going to solve this problem. I'm going to help you guys figure this out and get this going. And the mediator says to country A, I would like for you to assume 100% responsibility for cleaning up the lake. It's your job, clean it up. And then in the same breath, the mediator turns to country B and says, country B, I want you to assume 100% of the responsibility of cleaning up this lake. Now, the bickering and the fighting stops, and each country just does what they need to do in order to clean up their lake. And the lake gets cleaned. And it gets cleaned rather quickly because we've got two people really working on it. So it's one of the things that I tell my couples when they come in. I say, we're not going to move off of this point until we get this straight. Your marriage is not going to get any better, and you're not going to be any more satisfied or any more happy in your marriage until we change this mindset from our marriage would be so much better if you would just, to our marriage would be so much better if I would just. And I am going to work on it, kick butt, whatever, do it, whatever I need to do that's on my shores in order to clean it up. And I'm going to work with my counselor, my coach, my therapist, my whoever, to work on my stuff to get my side of this lake as clean as I possibly can. And I'm not even going to worry about your side of the lake. And then the other person also says, I'm going to clean up the lake. I'm going to assume 100% responsibility, and I'm just going to clean this up, and I'm just going to worry about everything that I can have access to on in the lake, and I'm going to clean it. Until we adopt that attitude, we are stuck in a power struggle, a stalemate of who's going to do what. And I know a lot of resentment builds of like, well, why do I have to do everything? You don't have to do everything. You just have to do everything that's yours. And if you are going to a coach, a counselor, a therapist, etc., who can help you determine, is this yours or is this your partner's? But we're not even going to worry about that. We don't want to go into codependency of I'm going to, do everything for me and my partner. No, I'm just going to clean up the lake. I'm going to work on what's mine. What do I bring into this? And do we have a plate full just looking at ourselves? One of the pitfalls that also comes with this, especially on that codependent side, is a lot of the things that codependents see as what they're trying to do. I'm just trying to help the relationship. Those fall into the category of overfunctioning, and those don't really serve the relationship either. And it takes really some objectivity and some understanding and some insight to develop that. Things that your partner doesn't have, which is why when I try to give my partner this feedback, our marriage would be so much better if you would just, it doesn't work very well. We need some objectivity. We need some expertise in this situation. And we can work on cleaning up our lake. Okay. That approach works way better. And we stop the bickering and the fighting of who's going to clean up what. And we recognize that we have plenty on our own plate. We are not innocent bystanders. We are also polluters of the lake. And so how can we clean up our own messes and our own stuff and just get the focus off of our partner and look at ourselves honestly and objectively and humbly in the mirror to see in what ways do I pollute the lake and in what ways can I just go ahead and clean it up, whether my partner does anything or not. And that is what starts the process of getting us out of the mud and getting us on the path to some healing and to some marital happiness. And so if you need some of this objectivity and some of this glimpse in the mirror of the things, what are on my side of the lake, what are things that I need to clean up that I am blind to. Believe me, we are way blind to our own issues. And so can we acquire some help and some objectivity with someone outside of our marriage that has some training and some skill in this area, and that can help us just start to clean up and do the business of cleaning up the lake. So it's food for thought. If you'd like to talk more about it, you can schedule an appointment on our website, and we welcome any comments that you might have about it. Thanks for stopping by.